Okay, so in this video I will explain about the mechanism of the hormones. Okay, hormonal actions. Okay, in our body. So generally the hormones controls the activity of the cell. Okay, so it regulates the activity functions of the body. So that's why generally the hormones are called as the regulators. Okay, hormones are called as the regulators. Okay, right. So generally the hormones are two types. So based on their solubility. Okay, so based on the solubility, hormones are two types. So hydrophilic hormones and hydrophobic hormones. So two types, hydrophilic and hydrophobic. Okay, hydrophilic means the hormones, those who dissolve in the water, that is called hydrophilic. So those who are not dissolved in the water, those who are dissolved in the lipids, fats, they are called as hydrophobic. Okay, like that the hormones are based on the solubility. They are classified into, differentiated into two types. One is hydrophilic and another one is hydrophobic. At the same, based on the nature of the hormones, the receptors also two types. Okay, so membrane bound receptors and intracellular receptors. Okay, right, which receives the hormones. Okay, so here the membrane bound receptors means the receptors which are bound on the membrane, cell membrane, that is called membrane bound receptors. So the receptors, those are receptors who are present inside of the cell or nucleus, they are called as the intracellular receptor. Okay, right. First we know about the mechanism of the hydrophilic hormone. Okay, and then later on we discuss about the hydrophobic mechanism. Okay, here you see this is the mechanism of the membrane bound receptors. So membrane bound receptor mechanism. So this membrane bound receptor mechanism is regulated by the hydrophilic hormones. Okay, so this was regulated by the hydrophilic hormones. For example, now I am taking one hydrophilic hormone, that is epinephrine. Okay, here I am taking a hormone called epinephrine. So epinephrine is a hydrophilic hormone. That means they are only soluble in the water. They cannot soluble in the fats. Okay, right. So this one is the cell membrane, plasma membrane. Okay, right. Here the epinephrine when it so this is the cell. This is one of the cell. Okay, in our body. Okay. So this is one of the liver cell in our body. Okay, right. So this is the liver cell. Okay, and this one is the hydrophilic hormone epinephrine. So how it affects on the liver cell, that mechanism now we can see in this. Okay, right. Here when it comes near the cell epinephrine, so then this is the receptor. This receptor is called as membrane bound receptor. Okay, this one is called as membrane bound receptor. This means the receptor is binds on the plasma membrane. Okay, so that's why they are called as membrane bound receptor. So when it comes near the receptor, then the receptor receives the hormone epinephrine. Okay, right. But the epinephrine cannot move inside of this cell. Cannot move inside of this cell. Okay, because the plasma membrane contains lipids, phospholipids. So by epinephrine cannot dissolve in the phospholipids. So that's why they cannot move inside of the cell. The epinephrine cannot move inside of the cell. So that's why they are bound with the membrane bound receptor. Okay, right. So when it binds with the receptor, then here G protein which is present on the membrane, so it activates. So G protein activates. So then the GTP will add with the G protein, combines with the G protein, and it activates the another enzyme called as adenylate cyclase. So this one is called as adenylate cyclase. Okay, cyclase, yeah, adenylate cyclase. So another enzyme will be activated by the G protein. Okay, so when it activates, then the ATP will binds with the adenyl cyclase. Then both are forms a CAMP. That means this one is the secondary messenger. This one is called as the secondary secondary messenger. Okay, right. So the CAMP means cyclic adenyl monophosphate. So this is acts as a secondary messenger. This will formed by the ATP and adenyl cyclase enzyme. Okay, so because of epinephrine not able to move inside of the cell, so that's why the function of the epinephrine is regulated by the secondary messenger. The function of the goal of the epinephrine is regulated by the secondary messenger, that is CAMP. Okay, right. So now the cyclic adenyl monophosphate activates the phosphorylase. Okay, then the phosphorylate the glycogen into glucose 6-phosphate. That means phosphorylate or break down the glycogen in the liver cell, break down the glycogen into glucose 6-phosphate. Then it in turns into glucose. Okay, so like that glycogen converted into glucose by the hormone epinephrine. Okay, so this action is called, this mechanism is called as fight and flight mechanism. Okay, so when the adrenaline is released, adrenaline or epinephrine, nothing but. Okay, both are similar, both are same. Okay, so when it affects, then the glycogen breakdown and release the glucose into the blood. So this is the mechanism of the membrane bound receptor mechanism, hydrophilic hormone mechanism. Okay, here we see the another mechanism, that is intracellular receptor mechanism. That means hydrophobic hormone. This intracellular receptor mechanism is regulates by the hydrophobic hormone. That means steroid hormones. Those hormones are dissolved in the fats, lipids. Okay, right. Here we see, for example, steroid hormones means estrogen, testosterone. Okay, so these are the steroid hormones. Those hormones are released from the adrenal cortex. That means glucocorticoids. So these are the steroid hormones. Anyhow, okay. So here this is the plasma membrane and this one is the steroid hormone. So steroid hormone generally dissolves in the fats. That means the plasma membrane contains phospholipids. So this hormone is dissolved in the phospholipid. They are able to dissolve in the phospholipid. Then that's why this steroid hormone across into the cell. Okay. So then there is in the cell there is a receptor. That receptor is called as the intracellular receptor. Okay. Those are present inside of the cell. That is called as intracellular receptor. So now the intracellular receptor binds with the steroid hormone. So then forms a hormone receptor complex. Now this hormone receptor complex, now this receptor carries this steroid hormone into the nucleus. So this one is the nucleus of this cell. Okay. So now the receptor carries the steroid hormone into the nucleus. Okay. Right. So then the this hormone receptor complex, which is formed previously, it will binds with the genetic material DNA. Okay, then it regulates. Then it regulates the transcription process. Okay, that stimulates the process of transcription. So transcription means the mRNA is produced by the DNA. DNA transcribes to mRNA chain. That is called as transcription. Here, after the transcription, then the mRNA chain is produced. Okay, so then the mRNA comes from the nucleus into the cytoplasm. It moves from nucleus to cytoplasm. Then the ribosomes are attached with the mRNA chain, and tRNA also attached with this, and then forms a protein. Okay, so the mRNA used to produce a protein. Okay, that is called as translation. Okay, after the transcription, mRNA produced, the mRNA then it joins with the ribosomes and then it forms a polypeptide chains or nothing but proteins. Okay, so like this cell activity is controlled by the steroid hormones. Okay, this is about hormonal action.